Boy, G, I don't know about you, but every time I hear the champions here, I think
Yeah.
about one thing. State Champions
Yeah,
Podcast.
that's all you can think about.
Welcome to State Champions Podcast. On State Champions Podcast, we discuss people, politics, community, and culture. And of course, with two former high school teammates, a current coach and a former coach, we discuss sports as well. If this is your first time tuning in, we thank you. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in at our new time for the summer because we decided 8 o'clock was great, but it could be better because in the city of Detroit, Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., it could be tough. We have the Shane Park series and a number of different things going on. So we decided to do a 1 o'clock show to get more people involved so people can hear us and talk to us. Early in the day, you might be at work on your lunch, and that's cool too. We're talking, and you can let the people know at your job what's going on. But make sure that you do one thing. Make sure you follow us. What can they follow us at, G?
Man, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and obviously you can go on Facebook. Here's the thing. Go to YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to us, check us out, engage in some of the dialogue. And, you know, some of the things you don't agree with, talk to us about it. I think that's the greatest thing about it is we can have the open dialogue. A lot of people talk behind closed doors, but a lot of people are afraid to talk about what's really going on and what's really on their minds because they fear, you know, people going to say something bad about them or it's going to be an argument or it's going to be unsettling to some people. We don't move like that. We don't think like that. We can't correct anything. We can't get any movement going if we don't talk about it. So here we are again today in the basement.
Getting ready for, this is our fourth in our series. Has the Black family vanished?
Wow.
And of course, if you haven't tuned in, you can go back and look at it. All the different shows on YouTube. The first one was the Golden Years. The second was the 1964 Civil Rights.
The Civil Rights legislation.
And last week we did, that was, man, I can't even think about last week. But anyway, we'll get to that. But today's show, we're going to talk about, the welfare trap was last week. I couldn't believe that. Welfare trap. And then this week, the topic is
the rise of the Black woman.
Rise of the Black woman. Go ahead.
Was it a devious plan? Did they really map this thing out? Or was the government, the wonderful U.S. government, were they really looking out for the Black family? Talk to us about it.
We're going to talk. Make sure you call in 313-458-4445. And that's for the people in the back of the bus, 313-458-4445. We'll keep the number on the ticker as we go along. But before we get to that, I think we should just talk a little bit about last night, the NBA draft. The NBA draft. We would be wrong to do this without talking about the NBA draft. Listen, last night in NBA, anybody that watched it, some people may have not watched it, but the new prince of the city, Darius Acuff Jr.,
a.k.a. Cheeks,
got drafted
number 7.
Sacktown. Going Sacktown. And so I was really, really impressed with the whole entire thing to me personally. I like what I saw last night. I think this is bigger, and I know you're going to appreciate this, G. What I like the most.
I know where you're going.
is how many dads
talking about
were up there with their sons, and it wasn't just the mother.
Wasn't just a mother.
And so I was excited just to see that and to see the different guys come up there and they ask the dads questions. And of course, mothers get shy. But what we realize is that a lot of times, because we don't see it and they haven't promoted this, that the Black men or the fathers are still in the lives of our youth, but they don't promote that. And that's the reasoning behind that. But G, what was your take on last night's draft and what you saw and where people went?
Well, that's crazy because obviously we didn't go in the great room to talk about this or anything prior to this, but you said it. You knew it did something to me to see all those dads sitting next to their sons. I like the pageantry, the way they did it though. Announcing the young fellas almost as if they were in the game before the draft started. Everybody came out and went to
Yeah.
their seats like that. So it was very organized, very structured. I think the one thing that the NBA and all these professional sports leagues have done, they've done a good job of promoting and making sure they market this thing right, and it wants to look a certain way. So
Yes.
what I did see and what I'm telling you now is to see those dads next to their sons, and then to see moms, a unified front, to see those families there, man. And sometimes they had the sisters come out and the brothers come out. It was a wonderful thing to see these young people live out their dream, get to the NBA, but also understanding how big it was for the families, man. It was beautiful to see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, G, so and then when I listened to the different interviews and of course, Cheeks, he was out there, he was representing Detroit's finest. He got the buffs
Got
on.
the buffs on.
And when they spoke to him in the green room, but they spoke to him about his dad. His dad was sitting there, and his mom, and his little sister that's his sister, right? That was with him. But
who you talking about, Cheeks?
Yeah.
No, that's his mom and her twin sister.
That was her twin sister. Wow. But they talked to Cheeks early in the day on the red carpet, the NBA red carpet. And what I liked was they asked him about his dad. Your dad went to Eastern Kentucky, did his thing, and tell me about your dad and how he was on you. He said, man, it was tough. It was some tough love. And he just gave his dad those kudos, which I think was pretty cool. And it was all around a class act just from everybody, but to see it, but then to know these people that's coming from the city of Detroit that you can actually touch them, you can call back, and get them on the line. So that those type of things to me is very, very important for the young people to see, and that family union that was there. I thought it was pretty cool, and it's going to be great for him. And I think nobody really knows the connection as I was sitting and watching it.
Yeah,
because they were saying he was going to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
but that didn't happen, and I knew at that point he was going to end up in Sacramento because of none other than Scotty Perry. Hey, no question about it. So that's good stuff right there. And they did a great job. And I think this leads into our topic of today. And remember, it's 1 o'clock, about 1:15 on the East Coast. And we thank everybody for tuning in. But these will be our new summer hours. We're going to try to go at 1 o'clock, 1:10 up in there every Wednesday, because we know it's a lot of things going on in the city.
That's right.
And we get more viewership. And a lot of times, some of y'all jokers at work,
y'all ain't doing nothing but scrolling anyway.
Y'all ain't doing nothing, no way. Scrolling back and forth. Now you got your boys on from the city. We doing our thing. State Champions Podcast, 1 p.m. edition. Always tell a friend, call a friend, and let them know what we're doing. But let's get to this series. The fourth part of the series.
Okay.
The rise of the Black woman. And the question comes into play. Was it a devious plan, or did the government really want to support Black families?
Wow.
When we look at this series and we broke this whole thing down, and we're here at the rise of the Black woman, and we put out some stuff on social media.
Yeah.
And we had this whole video plan. But what do you think was the real plan? Because if anybody understands the Equal Lives movement, and just let's go back.
Let's go back. Yes.
It took a little while. It started many, many years ago. And some people believe that it was for women to come into the workforce so they can have equal rights.
Equal rights.
And when you do some studying and look at the history books and the documents, different legislations, and you find out who was behind the movement.
Okay.
It's scary. It wasn't women. Actually, it was a group, 2 men, and it was this particular group of guys. And they decided we no longer wanted to just tax one half of the society. Yeah. We wanted to tax both halves, not just men and women. And then here's where it gets scary.
Yeah.
With that Equal Lives movement, they thought we can control the children while mother and father's out competing.
Wow. Yep.
So who's raising the child? So that Equal Lives movement was started from the very beginning deviously.
Oh, man. From the jump, by two men.
By two men. And so when you think about that, and then you add other layers in there through research and documents, you find maybe, just maybe, they were not trying to help the black folk. But let's go back to this part of the Equal Lives movement. And they talked, and everybody said, well, you know, we got to get the black women and the Asian women and all the people involved.
Mhm.
Well, to be honest, for wealth purposes,
Yeah.
white women was always in great shape
Uh-huh.
because their wealth was tied to
Oh, man.
their white counterparts.
Absolutely.
So they drug in our sisters.
Who? No. So hold on. Let's be very specific. That pronoun, you said they. Who?
So
Who brought in our
they
sisters?
would be AKA the government.
Mm-hmm.
You must bring in the sisters because we need to keep them divided. Now, everybody must understand this is off the heels of the civil rights legislation, but more importantly, the Black Panther Party being broken up and all of these things that were happening. People forget that this was a critical part. So they wanted to bring the black women in to cause dysfunction.
Yep.
And they knew we cannot have the black family together because it's too much structure. And we must stop the rise of the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
That is a real thing. And if you look it up through history, that's one of the things that J. Edgar Hoover said, who was the head of the FBI. The number one threat to the United States was the rise of the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
And the Black Messiah at the time was obviously the black man, but they were together with family doing this Black Panther movement and having these things, having unification, having the lunch programs, the breakfast program, educational programs. They also had the healthcare program.
Yep.
And once you see that, now you start to look at the bigger picture and say, this was not a plan to help the black people. It was a devious plan to destroy the people. So, G, what's your thoughts in terms of our title, this fourth episode, and what we're speaking of in this series?
Rav, I really want, number one, Lisa, how you doing? Lisa Kimball, Cooley High in the building. Call us, Lisa, for real, because you know all about this kind of stuff. Yeah, we going early today. Damian Jackson, McKenzie in the building, man. We going early today. Sis, I want you to understand, Auntie, good to see you on early. Glad Unc doing well. But I want to think about this, y'all. The black woman, let's be very specific because this is about her title today. And this is not about division. This is not about denigrating. This is not about down on our women. I want you to think about this. What America admired so much about our woman was her strength and her ability to love and produce love. The black woman raised America's child.
For sure.
I want us to get back to that and understanding that. So as she was raising the children, the one thing that everybody witnessed is not only was she able to go to her hut or wherever they were living at night, their quarters, and take care of her own family, but she took care during the day, countless hours of little white children. So America watched that and paid attention, and then they looked up in the 50s. You come decades later, centuries later, and you say, wow, this family is really doing great. The unity in that community was unbelievable. And the one thing that they had done is, okay, we did the Welfare Act. And we understand what that was about, the welfare trap. And now we got to do something else. We're going to get the woman out of the household. And I don't think we really recognize the significance because, you know, it's almost like, you know, your parents told you, hey, don't go up to any cars when you're little. If somebody offer you some candy, you get moving, you get running, because it appears as if you are getting something positive. It looks like it's a treat to you. So you walk up to that car, you get in that car, and guess what? They're going to take you, and something bad is going to happen. Well, here we are. To me, we took the candy, and we walked up to the car, and we took the candy, and it looked like it was wonderful. It looked like they cared for us, but all the while, the one thing that they wanted to do was take the woman out of the household. And if you thought it was significant, the man being out the household for the welfare trap. You look at what occurred when our women, because that wave of women, a little bit after that, the professional wave of women came about. And we're going to talk about that a little later. And now you look at it, a great deal of our women are professional. And Lord knows they've done a great job educationally, professionally, financially, done a wonderful job. But at what cost?
Well, it's just exactly what you said. It costs us our families, and you have people commenting about it was designed to knock down the black family, and for sure that's what the actual intention was to do. Regardless of what was being said, they really wanted us to be in pieces.
Yes.
And they understood now the kids are being held together by mom, but we must get her out of the household because we have dad on the outside of the house as well. So now we have to continue with our movement so we can control our kids. So when we look at our women of today, and I think it was Dr. Umar said something to the effect of, our women are discontent with being mothers. Our women are discontent on being mothers.
Wow.
See, I don't know, but I'm not a biblical scholar by no means, but it would have to be something special about being a mother.
Oh my God.
It would have to be something special about raising your offspring. Something special about a lady who birthed a child.
Oh yeah.
To nurture and groom that young man or young woman to become something special in the community. Mm-hmm. So for our women to become discontent with being mothers, then you will have the movement of what we see now when you have these songs, when you go back and you look at our advertisement for this show, and you have people like Lizzo.
Oh man.
Lizzo said the world wouldn't be nothing without hoes.
Uh-huh.
Then you have Young Miami.
Young Miami. What's she say?
Where all my scamming.
Yeah.
And is that.
Yeah.
So if this is the model for our women and our mothers, see, now it makes sense to me what Dr. Umar said.
Yeah.
Because if a woman is discontent with being a mother, she has no boundaries.
Well, I want you to think about this, Rapping. It's crazy because I did a reel last night.
Okay.
And, talking to some people, I think the one thing that I've said, and we talked about this for years, we're still having babies, though.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So let's get into, hey, Joella, how you, JoJo? Thanks for coming on. Divide and Conquer. You're absolutely right. But I want us to think about this because there are some of our queens who have done an amazing job raising their children.
For sure.
But that is not the vast majority. And what we're looking at is a lot of our young people, and you're seeing it now with our younger people, they love having babies.
Oh, no doubt about it.
And they love the allure of the attention that comes with having a child, because now you are having gender reveals, and I'm not against the gender reveal, but you're having a gender reveal, you're having a baby shower, you're having a lot of things, and everything that goes along with having a baby, it brings about a lot of attention. But the one thing that we haven't done and we haven't said to ourselves, which is vitally important, we're not teaching our boys how to be good fathers. A lot of us, we haven't provided a good example. And our young women that are having babies, they're not really embracing motherhood. They're embracing having a baby. And I think what's occurring is they want to have a baby, but they don't necessarily want to be a mother. And it's a lot. And see, this is the crazy thing about it. The one thing I tell everybody, and this past Father's Day, it was a wonderful thing. And people say, man, what you going to do? Man, I ain't doing too much of nothing. I'm going to sit in the yard. I'm going to throw something on the grill. We're going to throw some fish and some grease, and we're just going to fellowship with the family. That's what I love to do. It's plain and simple. Mother's Day come, there's more pageantry, there's more flowers, there's more reservations. And it's not because, y'all love mama and we don't know. The mother is the heart. She's the nucleus of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at past generations, you can see on Mother's Day, on Christmas, Thanksgiving, there was so much time spent with mom because guess what? Mom provided so much love for us all the time. Today, we don't see that same type of nurturing, and that's why we have some of the things going on that we do, because mom is not as physically and emotionally present as she was. Now, is she financially present? Absolutely. But is that helping us? I don't think so.
So you just mentioned something about how the mother is not invested, and I guess that goes back to my statement of,
Yep.
with women are discontent with being mothers.
Uh-huh.
And mothers were the nucleus of the family.
No question.
And we talked about this in the first episode of this series, The Golden Family. See, the mother would gather everybody around.
Mm-hmm.
The mother would have the barbecues, and this is where our extended family members came from.
No question.
This is how these things were ingrained into us. And she was a very, very strong part of the family. But of course, she was able to do what she was able to do because that man was there,
Yeah.
and those things were in place. So again, back to the point of this particular episode, the rise of the Black woman, that was all a strategic plan because they understood the impact. And if we can get her out of the house and stop the nurturing, what we will then have is chaos, and the inmates will be running the asylum.
No question.
And the inmates will be the offspring because the offspring have not been taught anything, the love, the nurturing. And when you don't have the love and nurturing, a young man will go out into the streets,
oh my God,
downtown Detroit or any other inner city. And if he doesn't love himself, he definitely doesn't have a love for anybody else, and he will take a life. So this is why we're seeing this teen takeover.
Yeah.
These things are not coincidental.
Not at all.
Until we change the mindset, our mindset, nothing will ever, and I would say this again, nothing will ever change if we don't change our mindset about the unification, coming back together and relinquishing some powers on both sides and have a team leadership group. And of course, having that, it will show so many different things to the younger people come behind, aka the children.
Yeah.
Maybe not your children, but maybe your grandchildren, maybe the neighbor's kid. It doesn't make a difference. But if we do that, now we can have greater impact. And you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot have change if you don't change your mindset.
Ralph, it's crazy that you said this. As I became an adult, I always kind of wondered, and then now having grandchildren of my own, it's kind of funny because when you went to your grandmother's house, when I can hear some of our friends. I can remember even listening to Hardy say, "Hey man, I'm about to go to my OG house. I'm about to go to mom's house." Mm-hmm. And it's the craziest thing in the world, y'all. His parents have been married 55 years, haven't had a day apart. And when he says he's going to his parents' house, he always says, "I'm going over to OG house."
Mm-hmm.
The father was the breadwinner, no question about it.
Okay.
We called it mom's house. We called it grandma's house because grandma provided the love. Mm-hmm. Grandma provided everything, the food, everything. Grandma oftentimes, you could look up sometime, and when some of the families that were less fortunate, grandma, sometimes you looked at it, grandma didn't even eat sometimes to make sure everybody else did. And so when you're talking about love from within the family, I think one of the greatest things that has occurred for us, and again, let's not be foolish. Sometimes we as men have been kind of, aloof for a long time. Generations have. And sometimes he hasn't been there physically. Mom's love kept us together. Single moms is not a new phenomenon in our community. Let's not act like it is. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I could tell you is, yeah, the homes were maybe a little bit more modest. Mm-hmm. Maybe you never asked for a seafood boil for lunch on your birthday. Maybe you didn't get a seafood boil. I know I didn't. But I can tell you one thing, and one thing's for sure. Grandma and mom's love replaced everything. And I've heard so many people say, man, some of the old heads, man, you listen to them, and even guys our generation say, man, I ain't even realize we were poor.
Yeah.
You know why you didn't realize that you were poor? Is because mama kept everything clean. Mama kept everybody in order with granddad's backing, and mama made sure every belly was full. So what I can tell you is this: yeah, we have a few more things material wise, but it has been at a large expense. And when I see the young people, and I ask them on every Monday is my routine, and sometimes they voluntarily come tell me, I ask, hey, what did y'all have for dinner this weekend? What'd you do this morning? What'd you have for breakfast? And it is so disheartening that our young people come to school and they're getting out of, vehicles, I guess look nice, but they eat as if they're getting food out of the commissary. And I can't understand for the life of me how that is humanly possible. And yet we say that we love our children, and yet we say that we're doing a great job from a parental perspective. And that's not the case.
Oh, for sure. And it's funny you're talking about that. Because it's all perception. And so our perception, we want to look a certain way.
That's it.
We want to look a certain way, even though we may not be in that position to be looking as such. But what I want to touch on, G, is the family and the mother and how these things have come about now, and we see all the ratchetness. That part about the grandmother when you went to her home and the love was there. You come get grandma a kiss. You got to go to grandma. She's sitting there, and then sometimes you over there and you wanted that ice cream, and ice cream truck came down, and she went inside, and then
that same gown too. I don't even know if my grandma had 7 total outfits, man, till she went to church.
Go into her little purse, and then she got her just a little $1.
Old school pocketbook.
Yeah, pocketbook. And so she'll give you a few, $1 or so back then. You might
give
some quarters.
Just some quarters.
And so that has been lost.
Oh.
So this is the creation that has come behind the rise of the Black woman. And it was a strategic plan to make us believe that everything is okay. We're doing everything in the proper tense. We're going to take care of the women because the men are not taking care of the women. Well, we understand why the men were not taking care of the women, because those things are blocked. And once you open up the workforce, white women were getting a lot of the jobs as well in the workforce at the time. People don't realize this, or the Black women were getting the jobs. So then they said, what? The Black men are not working. So of course, we are now economically irrelevant to the family, in which it makes us feel so bad that now we are resorting to doing something
to try to provide some money.
To provide some money that could be detrimental to our health, our safety, or our freedom. And so that's part of the 1994 crime bill. Before you get there, you had the war on drugs, when you had the heroin that came into the cities.
Man.
And all those different things that came into play. And so it's a domino effect of the rise of the Black woman. And I'm sure, and to George's point, when we're talking about this, it's not a knock on the woman.
No.
The title in itself was not a knock on the woman. It was to get people to think and say, wow, are they insecure about the women's rise?
No.
Absolutely not. Under no circumstances, because we understand. Listen, it's called fool's gold. Everything that glitter is not gold. So you took the bait at the time, or you took the welfare because you needed some support. Needing support.
Literally needed it.
You needed some support for sure. So instead of your husband or your spouse being your man, who came into play, the government became the man of the household, and he controlled everything. And if he says it, you must do it in order to maintain your benefits. And it's unfortunate because that continued and put that wedge that was in between the Black man and the woman. It made us go even further apart, which is shameful, and it's devilish, and it's pure evil.
It's evil. It's evil.
At its best, because these plans are going on behind closed doors before we even know it. So again, man, George talked about this in previous shows. It seemed like everything goes into 30 years.
Oh man.
64 civil rights wrong act, if you will.
Yeah.
And then the 1994 crime
yeah.
bill. And then, of course, sure, you say, I guess that'd have been 2024. The bill would have been probably been the agenda of the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
So there's always a change.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting. Hopefully we're still around in another 30 years where that'll put us at, dang.
That puts us at 85, Chief.
Yeah, 20.
E. Lampkin.
2054.
Rev, that's going to put you at 85 too, man. Maybe 84, man. You know, you good.
Yeah, but this thing, I wonder what that next divide is, and I think they've got it
programmed. Look at E. Lampkin, Cooley High in the building. Rev, you said programmed systems. That's exactly what's going on. But I want you to think about this too, Rev. I need you to think about this, Rev. I've said this on a many occasion, but you right, hey, rough, hey, bro, it's the truth. But here we go. The one thing that I could tell people is this, and this is what makes it difficult to talk to a lot of people, because we want to lie to ourselves, because if we lie publicly, it still seems as this is beneficial to the family. We know it's not. I want you to think about this. When a man doesn't run the household, if the man doesn't run the household, even for some of you males who are in the household, if you don't run the household, that means the mother does. That means your wife runs the household. And 85% or 90% of the time, if the woman runs the household, do y'all really realize who's going to run it?
Mm-hmm.
The children. And specifically the boys. And let me tell you why. Because mom's heartstring and her emotions are so wrapped up, because she's such a lover, she's such a giver, that the child's emotions are going to regulate her. So what dad provided, dad provided that order. And so when we talk about the rise of the woman, you got to be very careful when my man said to you, hey, here you go. Here's this candy for you now. Now, you don't need him anymore because his candy is not good. And you accept it and you say, okay, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm doing better than him anyway, because most times he come around, he doesn't even have any candy. Well, now you took the bait. All the while, my man understood, as soon as I get him out the way and I get you out the household, I am going to run this thing. So as we look on social media sometimes, and now we almost can't even turn on social media without seeing a group of women. Now, we've seen all these boys and we've seen what it could do.
Mm-hmm.
How many times are we going to look at our young women fighting? How many times are we going to look at grown women fighting? How many times are we going to have the displeasure of watching our young girls cussing, acting a fool, throwing shit, doing all kind of things they have no business, doing things that your grandmother, because you're right, Brad, Big Mama's love is gone. Big Mom taught, if Mama didn't really do it all the time, which she did, but Big Mama stamped it. She taught us how to act, specifically them girls. And now that you working too much, or now that you having so much fun, now who is regulating our children? And even more specifically, who's regulating our daughters right now?
Well, obviously nobody, because this is part of the plan. And anytime you remove those structures into to my man's point, he said it best: structured, program systems.
Program systems.
These are program systems that they put in place, and so we program you to have that disconnect. We program you to be individualized. We program you not to see your family as family. In some cases, they're almost strangers. So we have this onslaught of this behavior that is unwielding and is unapologetic, even when they're wrong.
That's the scary part.
So this is where a lot of things go, and we are looking at things from a lens of It's always them versus us, which it is true.
Mm-hmm.
But never forget, when you're socially integrated into their systems, that will always be the case. That has always been the plan, us versus them. And so this is part of it, because we look at a lot of different things that's happening through, the media.
Yeah.
And just we could touch on this briefly. And everybody's in the uproar about the Carmelo Anthony verdict.
Oh, man.
And the Carmelo, of course, should he have gotten 35 years? Highly likely not.
No. Mm-hmm.
But when you go out, because George, you mentioned this to me, you said there were other videos. Yeah. Some of those videos are not so clear.
Yeah.
But it's a part of this that I want to say this to you and to everybody. The part that I did see, and then what they're talking about it was some type of words that happened before they arrived at the tent. Well, G, me and you went to Cooley High School. We had the luxury to go on other people's campuses, Cody's, the McKenzie's, the Southwesterns of the world. Mm-hmm. Well, think about this. If I got into it with some guys, nothing really happened. It was some words, verbal battle, a little lip boxing.
Yeah.
Maybe some pushing and shoving.
Yep.
They went to their tent and I'm still coming through. I may be in my feelings. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
What if this is what happened? And I'm in my feelings. I go up under their tent because it's raining. I go up under the tent. Of course, I still encounter those 2, 3, 4 guys.
That was passive aggressive within itself, though.
Ain't no question about it. So I go up under the tent and somebody pushes me.
Yeah.
And I say, according to what the report said and according to what was said in court, you push me again, you're going to see what's going to happen. I'm not so sure at that point the mind of the young Carmelo is of an intent not to hurt anybody. Uh-huh. So then when you reach in your bag, there's an intention. And
you already had
a little dust up. Yeah. But when you think about how it works, did they said he got jumped? The video didn't show that. Uh-huh. It happened too quickly. So he didn't get jumped based upon what we saw. And for him to pull out the knife and to stab the young guy, and the guy obviously passed away, we are looking at this as us against them. When do we hold some responsibility in this part of the story? Because the question is, why was he carrying a knife? Mm-hmm. I don't know about Frisco, Texas, and what's going on, but you and I went to Cooley. No. Did you ever carry a knife at Cooley?
No.
And I know it's a little different. I didn't carry a knife at Cooley, but I'm just saying I know things are different. But you on your own campus, right? He was at their high school, correct?
Yeah, I'm
almost sure. And it was just a track meet. So when I saw that, I said, wow. But I'm only tying this in because now that the mother is out of the household, and not in his case, and I'm just giving an example, how now everything is out of balance. There's no more unity. There's no more nuclear family. So then you'll have these type of consequences or incidents that may take place, and our kids then become a victim of the system. But again, we talked about the civil rights legislation.
Yeah.
We want it to be socially integrated. And once you socially integrate into somebody else's system, they are in
control
are a guest of the system.
You are a guest.
They can do anything they want to you in that system. I saw different posts where they compared, well, this kid did the same thing and he only got probation. I'm sure I understand it. But what do you expect when you're integrated into their system?
Rab, let me say this. It's crazy you said that. And I promise you, I can remember Black being a young boy at 35 years old now. And I remember people saying, man, don't you think you're a little tough on him? And I said, look here, man. Society does not protect our children the way they protect everyone else's. And so what you saw, and it's crazy that you said that, because mama's leaving the household really, really made it where Rav now that discipline, now mama don't really know what you're doing.
She doesn't have a clue.
She don't have a clue what you're doing. So here we are. the discipline and structure that was provided in the home was everything. And, a lot of us, I hear a lot of us saying, well, man, our mamas, they was a little too much, and I got wood with an iron cord. Well, the statistics show, Rabbi, listen here, man. I can tell you this. Some of the whoopings I got, it was like, looking back on it, yeah, I probably deserved most of them.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a couple I didn't. But I also understand this, that my mother was doing it, and my grandma, Lucille Cole, good God Almighty, tall as this thing right here. But I understood they did it out of love because they wanted to make sure when you leave this household, if you do something crazy, we are not. Now, this is the difference in today's mama, too. Y'all got these kids thinking that y'all can protect them, and you can't. I don't care how many times you go up to the school and cuss Miss Thomas out. I don't care how many times you go up there and, I'm going to cuss out Miss Rice. She gave my kid a C. They're going to give him a B. It doesn't matter. You can't control what goes on after the kid gets in the system. And I think the scary part about that is we leave out so many details when we're talking about discipline. We talk about structure. We leave out the details for convenience. And it's easy for us to say, well, today's kid, they're just different. No, now you taking it off of you. When they say that really irks my damn nerves, as people will say, because that's a lie. No, kids are going to be kids, but kids are not going to be too much different unless the parents are different. And unfortunately, in this Carmelo Anthony situation, you have so many people, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm with y'all all the way. You shouldn't have got no 35 years. I don't care what you tell me. But the one thing that I can tell you is this. The rules to this game have not changed. So I don't care that every other Friday or every other Thursday, you get a little bit more than what mom got. I don't care if you have a 2.5 attached garage. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, and y'all need to understand this, the rules of the game haven't changed. And the saddest part about it for mom and some of you weak dudes that are sitting around here not doing your job is we don't realize it until it's too late. And so to Carmelo's parents and some of the other parents that we've been seeing out here that really their children have become victims of this society and what's been going on, y'all got to understand something. That hurts, and now you realize, like, damn, I was moving the wrong way. I was thinking the wrong things. I'm telling you right now, if we're going to have a great unified community again and unified families, and the one thing that's missing too, Ralph, the rise of the Black woman, you can talk to me all you want to. I see it. Now our families are fragmented. So now certain aunties don't talk to this auntie. So now when we go to Big Ma house, we can go to Big Ma house and kick it. We would eat. Everybody would be over there. Man, your cousins, everybody. Well, it's not the same anymore because everybody has their own agenda. And it's so unfortunate. And our families are suffering and our youth are suffering big time. And you can see their frustration by how they act.
So the rise of the Black woman again and again was strategic, devious, and pure evil. Until we understand that, we're going to continue to run into these situations. George, you said it so eloquently that we have fractions in the family.
Yeah.
We also believe, because our mothers think that they can save us from everything. Once they get into that system, it is a tough call, but that's part of the whole rise of the Black woman, to pull away the structure, to pull away the love, so you do not know what they're doing. And then they have no parameters. And now they're just out being boys, if you will, or being girls. And then they encounter the authorities, whether it's police or the school teachers, and they believe that they are the authority figures because you said this earlier, the boy at home is running the household. Not only is he running it psychologically, but emotionally, and then physically, because that testosterone is kicked in.
What you talking about?
And he knows I can knock my mother down. But here's another fact that nobody talks about, because that household that is fractured and dad is not around, And when dad is not around,
Don't say it, James.
and you haven't told him the real story,
Oh.
and then he is looking at different things, and he's hearing from different family members, and then he have that encounter with dad, and dad says, son, everything that you think you know, you do not know what really happened. You don't really know what happened. You're hearing it from your mother's point of view. And your mother's point of view is going to be based upon what? Her emotions. And her emotions are running wild. They're up and they're down. So now that you're hearing it from your dad and your mother doesn't understand and doesn't know that you had these conversations, now you start to build this resentment towards your mother because you figure out mom lied about certain things. And this is just the facts of what goes on into the community. Does it happen all the time? Nope, but it does happen a lot of times because we're sitting with children in the schools and you hear these stories and these boys say, I just never knew my dad, but then when I talked to him, I found out a lot of different things and I saw things differently. And then you look and turn at your mom and then you wonder why he has resentment. It's because everything was not given to him, but you only gave him what you could give him based upon the circumstances and this underhanded, devious plan that you bought, and you took those good, as George said it, you took the ice cream, you took the candy, and you was licking the candy, was tasting good, was feeling good. And then all of a sudden, you get a tummy ache.
Stomach.
But the crazy thing about when our women get their tummy aches, they won't say they got a tummy ache.
No.
And we talking about not a real tummy ache. We talking about what's really going on in terms of our community. They really won't say, dang, it was part of our fault. It was part of our fault because we took the bait. And then when somebody steps in to tell you, you don't want to believe what is being said because you've been conditioned over an extended period of time into, my man Lamps Point, program systems.
Ralph, it's crazy that we're talking about this. Keisha Carr, a financial literacy lady, coolie high girl, sis, she posted today. She posted today. She said, I have a lot of people that I'm seeing who are afraid of their children. She said, and what we're realizing is those children have gotten physical with their mothers, with their parents.
Okay.
And what I said to her, and I've said this before, I think the one thing that we have to do is accept the fact that there is an issue. Like you just said, don't lie about your stomach hurting. If it's hurting, you need to say something.
Yep.
But I think because of this pride and because of this perceived power, I'll say perceived power because you really don't have it, we can't say, and our queens cannot say, you know what, I'm in the middle of this ocean and I can't swim my way back. I'm in the middle. And the sickest part about some of this, and there are people like this, that will rather see the kids drown than let somebody else come and take credit for their survival.
But see, the thing is, G, the somebody else is not a stranger.
No, it's the dad.
It's the dad.
It's the dad.
So they would rather wow, that's a tough call. If they would rather see the kid drown, and I know you don't mean literally, but in the sense of what's happening, they would rather for the kid to suffer versus going and saying, hey, putting up the flag, shooting out the flare. We need some help over here.
Man, that pride, I see it I've seen it on so many different occasions where, you know what, look, mom, you need it. Why don't you call the dad or allowing somebody else to help. And then when they'll call out for help, it is really too late.
No, it's too late. So
I'm watching it and the kids get 15, 16 years old. And as Brian Waldron said last year sometime, he told me, he said, gee, they try to make us wardens. He said, after everything has been done after you've pushed me away, after you said you ain't got to listen to your daddy, or we're going to move like this, and I'm not going to listen to you, then you'll come back years later and then solicit my assistance. I think that's one of the worst things in the world when you look at it, for someone to say, you know what, no, I don't need your help. And we talk about preventive maintenance. And I've said this before. I use it all the time. And Aaron Waldron was the one that said that. Preventive maintenance. I don't want to have to fill the cavity. I'm trying to teach you not to get a cavity.
Yeah,
and then once you get the cavity, after I told you, hey, you need to do this, do your flossing, brush teeth at night, just do this 6 days a week and you'll be fine. And you know what? I ain't doing that. And then you get the cavities all throughout your mouth, and then you call and say, hey, I need you to come over here and perform emergency surgery, and you need to get here today. Wow. And a lot of dudes are in a position because now the relationship with his son or even his daughter in certain instances has become adversarial because of what has been created. And I think at some point, we've got to get back to being unified. And E-Lamp, you are absolutely right. I just think for us, we cannot continue to say to ourselves that this is not a problem. When we looked at Chicago this past weekend, I saw a situation in Tampa, Florida last week. They had their team take over, and it was just bedlam. At some point, we cannot wake up in the morning and say there were 5 young men in a stolen car, and they were chased by the police between the ages of 11 and 17. And now an innocent person is deceased because 5, they're not gentlemen, 5 young boys in the car.
Kids.
Eluding the police on a high-speed chase. And now an innocent victim is deceased. And where in the hell is the 11-year-old? And the one thing I can tell you is this: the 11-year-old ain't had no strict father home. The 17-year-old ain't had no strict father.
But I want to add to that, G. I saw the interview of the ladies, and this is the sad part, and this is one thing I want to say. I was listening to the family of the victim.
Oh, man.
3 ladies were talking, and they said, why didn't the police call off the chase?
Why you think?
Why didn't the police call off the chase? See, here we go.
It goes
We're
on. We're
handing the blame on the police department versus the kids.
Hold on. Which family? Oh, the families of the victim.
Listen to me. The families of the victim said, why did they continue the chase? They should have stopped the chase. We can probably argue that, but that's really not the issue.
Yeah, but there I can see the victim. But here's the crazy thing.
But even the AC, I can't see. This is part of the problem. If the victim can say that, the victim will continue to say that. Then the victim has a mindset that is really a false narrative, which they're not getting to the root of the problem. So then they'll continue to say things like this in a different form.
Instead of saying, why these boys? Why
bingo.
Yeah, that's
because when you start to look at why were first of all, the boys were in a stolen car. One was 11, the oldest was 17. Yeah. That's the issue.
That's the problem.
See, if they were not in the car, they hadn't stole the truck, I don't think the police would have been chasing the air.
Oh no.
So what we
no
can't,
question.
And at any time should we allow or think that we should put things off. We have to put the information and the issue right where it needs to be. What you should call misdirected anger.
That's right. It is told.
And I just didn't agree with that. I just like the police doing their job. It's a stolen vehicle. We don't know what's going on. Maybe they should have cut off the chase, but I think the blame should be placed on the hands of 5 people.
Yep.
Those 5 boys that were in the car, and then their parents.
You probably just about to say
their parents.
You probably need to have 15 people because the mom, whoever created all 5 of them, and I just think it's sad. And absolutely, and even as you watching it again, this is us, and this is what boys need. This is what boys need. Boys need to have that man there because the father is going to teach him how to hold himself accountable. And once you adopt that mindset, that changes everything. Unfortunately for our young people,
Hold on, really quick.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, E, you can call in. Make sure
Call
you
in right now.
313-458-4445. Let me make sure this is all set so you can get right on into the line. Go ahead. Let's see. You should be able to get in here.
Come on, Rev.
It should be, call in. E, you can get on. Lamp, you can get on right on in and add a comment, your thoughts, what you're thinking, and your feelings about this conversation. 313-458-4444. The line should be open. You should be able to get right through right now. But go ahead, G, finish what you were saying.
It is unbelievable, and it is piggybacking off Reverend Lampkin's point. You got to have a man to really, really, really teach these young boys what manhood looks like and what accountability is. You know, Roy Bacon, I see you chimed in, man. We become community that focus on shiny materialistic things. And I think that shift has damaged us to a point where we got to say something and we have to do something drastic to reverse this. Mm-hmm. That I think that's the biggest thing. We have to reverse this, but it is going to take something totally drastic, and people are not going to want to agree with it. And this shows the sickness in us sometimes that we'll continue to move as we're moving and act as if this is not a problem.
Hello. Welcome to State Champions Podcast.
Pastor Eric Lincoln.
Hey, Brother Eric, how you doing?
What up, though, fam?
What's good, fam?
Man, just listening to y'all. I actually had some time today, and y'all up here cutting up.
Yeah. Talk to us, man. What you thinking, Rev?
Well, first, let me tell you that y'all show is a liquid fire. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't really have anything to add like that other than just you're telling the truth, but we have to remember, and I know a lot of us don't like to hear this, we all were put in a system of programming.
Yep.
Because the programming is started way up above, and we know the money up top is what controls the system. So you can go back to, and a lot of this stuff we didn't learn in school.
Yep.
You can go to, and I put it in the chat, Edward Bernays, Propaganda. His uncle was Sigmund Freud. He produced the 4 food group system that's not supposed to be in place.
Okay.
But he also produced the pushing of oil, which we use in petroleum jelly. I mean, Vaseline, as it's called. So all of these things were pushed to keep us in a program system that we're not supposed to make it out of.
Yep.
From Reagan, from Carter, from some people may not like it, Obama, and all the other people. The more you dive into these systems, we see that the goal was to either break up the family, okay, separate the husband and wife. Number 2, remove the protector, leave the woman by herself trying to raise the kids. We know the government system, all of that. That started in the 70s. Reference point to that would be Diane Carroll and Claudine, the movie Claudine. With James Earl Jones. Absolutely.
Yes,
so remember now, it's being put in our faces, but at that time, we don't know anything about that because that's not what they're teaching or showing us. So we're doing good. The other things we have now, our children are the sum total of what we actually been through. And then we can go through our era was the drug era, where they were pushing it in mass form. And then shout out to Cooley High School. Remember, they were looking to take funding, and then they pushed us to do good on the SATs that allowed us to get more funding to keep Cooley open back then, if anybody remembers that. I don't know if anybody remember that.
I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So while they're saying one thing bad about the school is bad, no one talked about, and I'm just saying in general, no one talked about the educational advancements that we actually did inside of Cooley, those specific 4 years from 84 to 88. Mm-hmm. Even though we seen mass incarceration, YBI, drugs pony down, the Earl Flynn, the drugs, the shooting, and the killing, because we remember we didn't have votes and all of that. So it was put in the system on purpose.
No doubt.
Hey, listen. This what you're talking about is outstanding. It's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And we got some other callers coming in, but I want to chime in on this. And you mentioned a specific time, 84 to 88. I was just talking to one of those people that was behind that, an architect, and I posted a picture online. You had Posey Williams, Mathis Epps, and Ben Kelso, along with 100%. Some others that were there, that Coach Givens. You had a number of people that were there that were impactful in the change of that environment, but it was Black male leadership.
Man,
that is critical. Go ahead, brother.
Because, and I'm gonna say this because I know y'all got another call. So this is what I wanted to ask, because I had put it all in the chat. This is what everybody needs to understand. You know, whether you're spiritual or non-spiritual, it's the best of times and the worst of times all at the same time.
Yep.
But if it's not being televised like it was when we were growing up, it's going back underground for your protection, our protection, and everybody else's. And if you notice, I mean, because I'm in Texas and I fly back and forth. If you notice where people were being able to have a lot of advantage over us, they're not having the advantage point that they used to have. And then the last point I'm making is this: we have to remember that it belongs to us. We're gods and goddesses, or whatever they want to call it, or kings and queens, whatever. So that we have to understand, educating ourselves on the laws, the Black Laws Dictionary, the legal laws, how to handle the police, and I'm not saying this, no, what are my rights? And then, last thing I'm doing, our parents, or my dad used to say, son, keep your mouth closed, mind your business, be respectful, so that you can make it home.
Make it back home.
And we can fight them, later.
Yep.
My man, listen, we're going to go, but we're going to continue this. We appreciate you. So I want to go to this because he talked about a portion. He said the spiritual aspect of it. And so this is where it's really cold. See, when you talk about the Most High, and that's that spiritual connection that I'm sure that Pastor Lampkin was alluding to, but the spiritual connection is such a major factor in our upbringing that we've lost our way. So they disconnected us. Well, who was the main person in the family that was spiritual?
Oh, man.
Grandma,
man.
And then Ma. She was tied in. So with that spiritual connection being zapped, we must get back to the Most High, understanding that you can't get pulled too far to the left on the blue side or too far to the right. You better stay in the middle and be grounded with the Most High, because the Most High is the one that gives you all your energy, gives you your thought process. And then, of course, Brother Lampkin was going into the food. That's part of it, because giving the wrong type of foods and putting them in your body, and if your body is a temple and you're part of God, you can't destroy your temple. So you can't be putting these oils in your body that we are consuming. But this is part of that 4-food group that the brother was talking about. And it's a lot deeper than that. That's just my quick spill on it. But if you remember anything about today's show, we have lost our way because we've lost our spiritual connection to the Most High. I'm not talking about religion.
Nope.
I'm talking about spirituality. And once you understand that, and once you can ground yourself, you can see it and you can hear it and you can see it a mile away coming. And you can you'll be like, oh, here they come with the BS. Here comes something else. And then when you listen at the noise, you can hear our people in concert, in unity, to exactly what they're saying. And it's crazy. And it's be like, wow. But that's why that spirituality, but We don't have that anymore. And of course, we're not talking about the propaganda
No.
that they're preaching, because some of the preachers are bought, some of the churches are bought, and they're pushing the wrong messages. So then you think, you get confused, and you're like, well, they said at church that it's okay for me to do X, Y, and Z. Well, I'll tell you this, and I'm not a biblical scholar by no means, don't claim to be. But from what I was told from many, many years ago, God is not the author of confusion. He is the author of unity and togetherness. So when you go to a church and you are confused, you probably should leave that church. And you probably should go to your own understanding in the basement, or somebody that you're close to that can give you some intel and say, hold on, sit yourself down, and you have to listen, not with your ears, but with your heart, and say, I need the message from the Most High, and you'll get it. But go ahead, G, so we can get out of here, because it's 1:06, and we appreciate y'all being here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm 2:06.
2 o'clock.
I'm looking at the timer up here. Yeah, 2:06. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, again, ladies, we want to let you know how much we appreciate y'all. And E. Lampkin just said it as a pastor. He said most of the preachers are bought. Lisa Kimball, you're absolutely right, sis. Ben Perquette, we can't forget about Mr. Perquette, coach, man. He did a great job too. But we want y'all to tune back in. But let's think about what you heard today. The rise of the black woman. Was it orchestrated to save the black family by the government, or did they have a real plan in 2025 and 2030 and 2040 in mind when they took y'all out of the household? We want to talk about something too. Week 5. Rab, what we got going week 5?
Week 5, G.
1994 crime bill.
Ooh, the 1994 crime bill. We may need some special guests or some people on the show who
what we do
was affected by the 1994.
That was directly impacted.
That were directly impacted by the 1994 crime bill. When you think of it, and you think about how bad it actually was. But when you think about
it,
you still feeling it. But when you think about the intent of the 1994 crime bill,
just like the welfare trap,
it was, one thing about the welfare trap, they can always say, well, we did it for everybody.
Yeah,
we did it for everybody. Well, the 1994 crime bill, G, is a little bit different, because based upon a congressional review team in 1997, the congressional review team said that the 1994 crime bill was racially motivated, that sent black men to prison disproportionately than any other race on the planet. That was the rise of mass incarceration, and that was the beginning of the end of black family structure. We need to take these men out for 30 years so we can continue to implement these negative factions that we need to have growing in the family, so then we can have teen takeovers. But that's next week's show. It's going to go down. It's going to be great. We should have. I'm not sure who we're going to have on the show, but that's what we're going to do. The 1994 crime bill, its effects, and how it still is affecting us today, and how those laws were racially motivated, and it was proven
totally racially motivated, Ralph. And what we want y'all to do, Lisa, I want you to do this, and I'm charging you with a task, sis.
Okay.
Rev, I want you to do this, brother pastor. Damian, Jackson, JoJo, tell somebody when they get off work to watch this. Tell them we'll still communicate back and forth. They can't call a number and get in, but if they chime in on Facebook, YouTube, we really want to have the dialogue, because we need to come up with a plan. And I want us to understand this. What Ralph and I are doing, this is what our thought process is. We can't continue to wait on somebody to come help us who is the ones that's trying to hurt us. So listen again. We need to come up with plans ourselves, and to a small degree or a large degree, this is our way of spearheading that. Y'all, come on, call us in. Let's have some dialogue. Hey, don't look at it like, man, there go them coolie dudes again. They always got something to say. Hey, look here. When you think about the content, And you think about the subject matter, it ain't too many people around this state talking about what we talking about. Let's get to it. Let's help save our families. Hey, week 5, next week, the 1994 crime bill. Let's talk about it. But let's watch the other 4 episodes too before we even watch that.
Hey, next week, remember the new time, 1 p.m. Wednesdays. We'll be in the building. Make sure you call a friend, tell a friend, let them know what we're doing. Peace. And we out of here. We'll catch y'all next time.
The champ is here! The champ is here!